All right, welcome back, my 7th grade advanced class. Let's go ahead and knock out this homework tonight, solving multi-step equations. I'm going to start over here with the odd ones. So I got number 1. We see that we have y plus 8 equals 3. I need to get y by itself, which means I need to isolate y. I'm going to move everything that's with y to the other side. The only way to get rid of these numbers, though, or to introduce it to the opposite number. So the opposite of plus 8 is negative 8. And remember the rule for the equations. Whatever I do to one side of this equal sign, I have to do to the other side. Now the y comes down because I never introduced it with anything. It comes straight down and stays right there in the y position. 8 minus 8 is 0. I'm not going to put 0 there because anything plus 0 is itself anyways, right? So now I have 3 minus 8. I remember that rule. When my signs are different, I find the difference. I take the big number minus the small number, and I keep the sign of the big number. So this is 8 minus 3, which we all know is 5. And then we keep the sign of the bigger number, which was 8. So that's a negative 5. So the answer there is negative 5. All right. Number 3, I got 5 equals negative 2n. I know that negative 2 is being multiplied to n. I need to do the opposite, which is dividing negative 2 away. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other side. Now, negative 2 and negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, so I have 1n left over. And 5 over negative 2 is really going to be, well, one would say negative 5 over 2, but let's remember, 5 is a bigger number than 2. That means the numerator is bigger than the denominator. We need to go ahead and see how many 2's go into 5. We're going to make this into a proper fraction. This is going to turn to negative 2 and 1/2. All right, let's move down to number 5. Remember, you guys all have all the even numbers here. Write the decimal as a fraction or a mixed number in simplest form. So they're saying take this, write the decimal as a fraction. All right. I remember the rule. If I have a decimal, I can simply get rid of the decimal by putting a line underneath that number, putting a 0 for every number there, and putting a 1 in front of that. So this is going to give me 2 over 10, negative 2 over 10 to be specific. Negative 2 over 10, well, we can divide both by 2 over 2, because 2 over 2 is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, 10 divided by 2 is 5. This gives me negative 1 over 5 as a fraction. All right, number 7, we can do the same thing. We get rid of the decimal, put a line there. We put a 0 for every number that we see there behind the decimal. And we put a 1 in front of it. Now we got negative 454 over 1,000. I'm going to go ahead and divide these both by, well, how about we try, I want to go with 2 starting off. So divide both these numbers by 2 over 2. That's going to give me, let's see, 227. That's negative 227 over 500. 6 and 8 were yours. Now going to number 9. It says use these algebra tiles to write an equation modeled by the algebra tiles, then use tiles to solve this thing. All right, so let's go ahead and make an equation first. All right, the way I see it, I've got some number there's 2 of them there, right? And then they're next to negative 3. So I'm going to say 2 times a number, that's a positive, right? Minus 3 is going to be equal to 5, positive 5. That would be what my equation would be. So now I can't take 2x and combine it with negative 3. I'm going to have to add 3 to get rid of it. Which means I have to add 3 to this side. Now the 2x comes down. I don't put 3 minus 3 equals 0 because I never put the zeros down. And then 5 plus 3 is 8. Now I've got to find out what x is. So I'm going to divide 2 away from 2x. 2 over 2 is 1, so now I have 1x left over. Whatever I divide from one side, divide from the other. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So x is 4. Let's go ahead and move down to number 11. Solve the equation, check your solution. We see here that we got 10x plus 2 equals 32. I cannot go ahead and combine 10x with anything yet. I got to combine my like terms. 2 and 32 are both constants. So I'm going to bring this 2 onto this side to isolate my x. I'm going to introduce it to negative 2, because the only way to get rid of 2 of something is to take 2 away. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And this is 32 minus 2, which is 30. And now I have 10x equals 30. I'll divide 10 away from 10x to isolate my variable, because 10 divided by 10 is 1, so I have 1x. And now whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. 30 divided by 10 is 3. All right, let's move on down to number 13. Solve the equations. This is a pretty big one here, but it's not as complicated as you think. 5x plus 2x, remember these are like terms, so this is 7x plus 4 is equal to 18. I combine my like terms on opposite sides by doing the inverse operation. The opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. Now I have 7x. Now it's going to be equal to 18 minus 4, that's 14. Now I'm going to divide 7 away from 7x. That's going to leave me x all by itself. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. 14 divided by 7, that's 2. All right, let's go on down to number 15. Number 15, we got some decimals to work with here. So let's go ahead and combine them first, since these are like terms. I'm going to take 1.1x plus 1.2x and combine them and make 2.3x. I'll bring down the rest of the numbers because I really didn't combine them yet. Now I'm going to combine these like terms of both numbers. Even this, if this is a decimal, it's a constant. So is this. And I need to isolate that x. So I'm going to add 5.4 to the side. Whatever I add to one side, I got to add to the other. That's going to give me 2.3x. This equals 0, so I'm not going to bring that down. The equal sign comes down. And negative 10 plus 5.4 is going to give me 4.6. Negative 4.6. We know this because our signs are different. It means I'm finding the difference. I'm going to take 10 minus 5.4. Since it's a smaller number, keep the sign of the negative number. Now, I've got to get x by itself. Since I'm multiplying 2.3 to x, I'm going to divide 2.3 from x. Remember, I always have to do the opposite operation. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other side. 2.3 divided by 2.3 is 1, so now I have 1x left over. That's what I wanted to do, get x by itself. Now I have negative 4.6 divided by 2.3. A negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 4.6 divided by 2.3, that's 2. All right, down to number 17. Solve the equation. All right, so 6 times 5 minus 8v plus 12 equals negative 54. Well, I got to distribute properties. 6 times 5, that's 30. 6 times 8v, that's negative 48v. I bring down the positive 12 equals negative 54. Now I look for my like terms. There's none of these that have v with it, But 30 plus 12 I can bring together. So now I'm going to have negative 48v, 30 plus 12, that's going to be 42. That equals 54. Now I've got to get my v by itself, so I'm going to combine my like terms by doing inverse operation. The opposite of positive 42 is negative 42. But just like a scale, whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other to keep things even. Now I have negative 48v. That came down here. 42 minus 42 is nothing. And 54 minus 42, well, that is going to leave us 12. Now I got to get 48 away from v. Only thing I can think of to do in order to do that is to go ahead and divide negative 48 away. Notice I'm dividing the negative sign too. I do not want to know what negative v is. I want to know what v is. So I'll have to go and divide negative 48 to this side as well. You would think the answer is 12 over negative 48, but remember, both of these can be divided by 12. 12 divided by 12 equals 1. 48 divided by 12 equals 4. And since it's a negative divided by positive, this would be a negative 4. So my answer is going to be negative 1/4. And so normally I would go ahead and take this answer, put it into here, and then multiply everything out to see if it comes up with that. But I'm seeing something a little weird here. And I'm trying to figure out, oh, there it is. Okay. I did not bring down negative 54, and that totally messed up everything, didn't it? All right, so I'm going to have to erase all this up to a point, I guess, here. I apologize for those that wrote that down. I have to erase that. This was a negative 54. So that's a negative and a negative together make a bigger negative. So this is going to actually be 6. And this is going to be 9. Negative 96. All right. And now the negative 48 comes down. Okay. Yeah, that makes a big difference. 48v. Now I will divide negative 48 away. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That's going to go ahead and leave me with v equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 96 divided by 48, that's 2. So v equals 2. Now that seems a little more better. Let's go ahead. It says to check my solution. So I'm going to get the calculator out here and actually do that for this problem. When I do that, I can see that I would have 6 times 5, which is 30, minus 48v, and that's 2, right? So we're talking 30, and we're going to have a negative 96, right? Because, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to be taking the 48 times 2. So let's see, I'm going to say minus, let's see, 48 times 2, that's 96. And then add 12, negative 54, and look right there. It checks out perfectly. So that worked out nicely. I'm glad I double checked it, and I kind of seen there was something weird about that. All right, let's go to this one over here. We got 8.5 equals 6.5, 2d minus 3 plus d. So this is going to be 8.5 still. 6.5 times 2d is going to equal 13d. And then 6.5 times negative 3 will give us negative, I'm going to say, let's see, 6.5 times negative 3. 6.5 times negative 3. 6.5 times 3 is 19.5. So that's going to be minus 19.5. All right. And then plus d. All right, so I'm going to go to this side. The like terms are with d. 13d plus d is 14d. Everything else comes down. I got to get d by itself, so I'm going to add 19.5. Whatever I add to one side, I add to the other. This is 0, carry the 1. This is going to be a 9, 18, carry the 1. Looks like 28. And that's going to equal 14d. Now I'm going to divide 14 away to get d by itself, which means I have to divide 28 by 14. I know it looks like 280, but remember, there's a decimal there. So in all actuality, we can take this 0 and totally get rid of it. And 28 divided by 14 is 2. So d is 2. All right, let's move on. I'm on number, see, that was 19. I don't see where 20 is, and that concerns me. I'm going to look for 20 and be right back. All right, I found number 20. Here it is. That one's for you guys to do. Let me go ahead and get to number 21. Your friend solves the equation. Is your friend correct? Explain. Well, my friend would have taken negative 2 and multiplied it to 7, which would have got negative 14. We took negative 2 and multiplied it to negative y, which would have got him a positive 2y. So this is incorrect. Steps should have went from here to negative 14 plus 2y plus 4 equals negative 4. All right, now I could go ahead and work this. So now I would have had to combine my like terms. 14 and 4, negative 14 and 4 would have made negative 10. I know this because this is a negative, there's a positive. Means I take the big number minus the small number, keep the sign of the big number. So I have negative 10 plus 2y is equal to negative 4. From here, I'm going to add 10 to get rid of the negative 10. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And now I have 2y equals, well, that looks like 6. Negative 10 or positive 10 plus 4 is 6. And now I will divide 2 away, which means I'll divide 2 from 6. That leaves me with y equals 6 divided by 2 is 3. So number 21 is 3. All right, next is number 23. It says the cost in dollars of making N movies is represented by this formula. All right, let's write that down. C equals 15N plus 85. Now it's saying how many watches are made when the cost is $385. Remember, this is the cost. So we're going to put 385 for the cost. And put that equal to 15N plus 85. All right, I got to get 85 to this side, so I'm going to subtract it. Now I have 15n on this side. And 385 minus 85 is 300. Now I got to divide 15 away. And 300 divided by 15, let's see what that comes up with. 300 divided by 15. 20. So this means n is equal to 20. All right, let's go on to number 25. It says after the addition of an acid, a solution has a volume of 30 milliliters. Okay. The volume of the solution is 3 milliliters greater than 3 times the volume of the solution before the acid. So 3 milliliters greater than 3 times the volume of the original solution. Okay, and that's, let's see, the volume of solution is 3 times greater than 3 times the volume of the solution. Okay, it says here after addition of the acid, the solution has a volume of 90. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be this formula here. So to solve this, we will have to subtract 3 from both sides. So we can get 3x by itself. This will leave me with 3x is equal to 87. Now we're going to have to divide 3x by 3, which means we're going to divide 87 by 3. X is by itself now, and 87 divided by 3 goes into 8 2 times. 3 goes into 27 9 times. So my answer is 29. Since it's asking for the original volume, I'm talking milliliters. All right, I'm on number 27 now. Geometry, what is the length of the missing base of the trapezoid? We want to know what is the length of the missing base. We know what this is, we know what this is. Now we're trying to find, we know the area is this, okay? It helps to know what the formula is for a trapezoid, okay? Yours truly just happens to know that. So I believe a trapezoid is, let's see, 1/2, let's see, B1 minus B2, or the plus B2. Okay. And I want to say this is area. I want to say it's times, because you're getting the averages, and times the height, I believe, is going to give you the area. So in this case, the area was 21. So let's see, this is 21. The height is 3 inches. Now we're going to have to find out what B1 and B2 are. That's a little harder because B1 is going to be 8. So we have 1/2 of 8 plus a number times 3 equals 21. All right, so the first thing we see is we can't go ahead and do the parentheses, but I can multiply this 1/2 times 3. That's going to give me 3 over 2 times 8 plus B is equal to 21. Don't bring the 3 down again. Remember, we multiply 3 times 1/2. Now, what is 3 over 2 times 8? Well, that's 24 divided by 2. That's going to be 12. Now, 12 plus, since this is a b, this will be 3 over 2 times b to be equal to 21. Now I can go ahead and subtract 12 from both sides to get rid of the 12. I have 3 over 2 b is equal to 21 minus 12, and that's going to be 9. Now I have to multiply 3 over 2 to the inverse of 3 over 2, which is 2 over 3. Whatever I multiply to one side, I multiply to the other side. Now I have b all by itself. 9 times 2 is 18, and 18 divided by, let's see, 18 divided by 3 is 6. So that means this side up here is 6 inches. I'm going on to number 29 now. How many people must attend the third show so that the average attendance per show is 3,000? We're trying to figure out, remember we have show number 1 and show number 2, right? We want the average to be 3,000. So how many people have to come to this third show to get that? All right. Well, we know to find the average, we have to add all these together and divide it by 3. So let's write that down to start off with. Adding all these together, so you'd have 2, 5, 8, 0. Let's see. You'd be adding that to 2, 9, 2, 0. And adding it to some number, which we'll just call n, right? And then once you add these together, you have to divide it by 3, right? And that will equal, remember, you want 3,000. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, since we're dividing by 3 over here, we're going to multiply by 3 to get rid of that. Now we have 2, 5, 8, 0 plus 2, 9, 2, 0 plus n is equal to 3,000 times 3, and that's going to give us 9,000. Now I got to add these two together, right? So if I add these two together, let's see, I'll just put one underneath the other. That's going to give us 0. 2 plus 8 is 0, carry the 1. That gives us 15, carry the 1, 5,500 plus n is equal to 9,000. Now we're going to subtract 550, excuse me, 5,500, which means we'll subtract 5,500 from here. That leaves us n over here by itself, and it leaves us with our answer 0, 0, 5, had to borrow 1, 8 minus 5 is 3, so that next number has to be 3,500. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 31. Oh, there isn't one. Oh, that's the end of my homework, and we did that under 30 minutes, so let's go and close up. Good luck with the rest of yours, and I'll see you in class.